So welcome back. It's Tony Moore here, and this is day 2 of the virtual Freeform Festival. And having been involved with the Freeform Festival since the very first one, I'm really proud to be part of such an innovative idea of bringing the whole spirit of the festival online. In these days, it's a time for us to be able to share information and to discover more about the things that we find important in our lives. And we've already had 2 great panels. We had the Meet the Makers a little earlier, and we've got another one coming up later this afternoon. But we're going to return to our friend Ali Walsh because we are now going to have a cooking demonstration of Superberry pancakes and dark chocolate protein balls, which sounds so delicious. I'm just really disappointed that she's so far away. I can't try them. So without further ado, I will hand over to you, Ali. Take it away.
Thanks, Tony. Thanks so much for having me back. If you watched my earlier talk on going gluten-free, you will know that everything I do is gluten-free because I am celiac. First up, I have the most amazing pancakes. Not only are they gluten-free, they are dairy-free, and they are also egg-free. They are vegan. So the only allergen I'll be using in them is soya milk, but if you can't have soya, then you could substitute something else like coconut milk or rice milk or a milk of your choosing. There are so many out there today. There are a plethora of milks for you to choose from. I'm sure you'll find something you love. So what we need today begins with tofu. And if you're a bit averse to tofu, you've not tried it before, trust me, it works really well in pancakes. I'm going to be using 250 grams of firm silken tofu. I am also going to be using a teff flour from Lovegrass. I must tell you that they gifted me this teff flour, as did all the other suppliers that I will be mentioning today. If I don't give you a brand name, it's because they didn't gift it to me. So I'm going to be using the white teff flour from Lovegrass, and in that, that's 130 grams, I'm using 2 grams of bicarbonate of soda. That is going to be activated by the zest of 1 lemon and a little bit of a squeeze of 1 lemon. And added to that is going to be another gifted product from Arctic Power. They've given me their blueberry powder, which is just sensational, not only because it turns the pancakes purple, but because it tastes fantastic and it's really set off by the lemon. I'm also using bananas. I've put 3 down in the recipe. It's 270 grams of bananas that you'll need. It works out as roughly 3, depending on the size. And I think we should just get to it. You will need a blender and a frying pan. And in that frying pan, I'm going to be putting pure coconut oil. You can choose the brand that you wish for. It's only pure oil, so you don't need anything special. So into the blender is going to go the tofu. I've already chopped up. I thought it would probably be best that you didn't watch me weighing everything out. One thing I will weigh though are the bananas, because I once made this with 3 bananas without weighing out the bananas, and it's 270 grams that you need. And the pancakes ended up really odd, and I thought, oh, did I make them wrong? And then I realised, oh, it's because I just didn't weigh the bananas first, which is really annoying. So too much banana doesn't go down well. The riper you can get your banana, the better, because it will taste sweeter. This is something I learned recently, and you probably actually learned it as a kid. If you ever had a green banana, it was always a bit rubbish, wasn't it? So I'm just using my scales here. I'm a real fan of electric scales to get things exactly right. I'm almost there. I'm on 264, 269, 70. Brilliant. So I don't need the rest of that banana. I'm just going to pop that to the side, and then you don't need to chop these up, you just shove them straight into the food processor or my Magimix. I've not been gifted this Magimix, I just seem to use it for a lot of things, and those are quite sticky, so I'll move those away. Then I'm going to put in the soya milk. It is exactly 150 millilitres that I've used. I've used an unsweetened soya milk. If you like something really sweet, then maybe you could choose something different. The Arctic Power blueberry mixture, that is going to make you go, wow, what is that? Then I'm going to do a quick squeeze of this lemon, only putting in a little bit of a squeeze. It works out as about 3 milliliters. I know that's really precise. You need it to activate the bicarbonate of soda. If you've ever done that weird thing with a tiny boat powered by bicarbonate of soda, you'll know what I mean. You need something acidic there. And then finally, I'm going to be putting in the lemon zest and the teff flour. The teff flour, if you're wondering, has quite a nutty flavour to it, and it also has a lot more fibre, even in its white form, than a regular gluten-free flour. So it's really worth trying. And as I say, this one is from Lovegrass. They also do a brown flour, which I'm going to be using in the next recipe. So once I put everything into the mixer, pop the lid on, make sure it's secure. This is the bit where I'm going to hold it down very firmly to make sure I don't get purple pancake mix all over myself. And you'll have to excuse the noise. I'm going to pulse just a little bit. You'll see it's going purple before your eyes, making sure everything is mixed in. Yeah, I think I'm going to go for it for 20 seconds. Just really make sure that it gets mixed in there. If you're not careful, I hope you can get me over this. If you're not careful, the banana doesn't mix properly. So to make sure that the banana has actually mixed properly, I'm just going to get a knife and go around. By the way, you might be wondering why I'm using a metal knife to go around and not a plastic spatula, because I once used a plastic spatula and the blade of Magimix took a chunk of the plastic spatula off, and then I had to spend ages hunting for the chunk so that nobody accidentally ate it, which wasn't the best. This is such a wonderful purple colour. I have to say, prior to making this recipe with Arctic Power, I had not ever made purple pancakes. So just to give it a few more blasts, there we go. This is just sensational. Right, take that off. The next bit that I'm going to do is fire up the oven. I say oven, when I'm talking about this is not an oven. I'm going to choose the pan fry mode, and I'm going to take it up to 1000 watts. This is very different from cooking on gas or electric. I love this. It's sort of instantaneous heat. And I'm only going to be using a tiny, tiny amount of coconut oil. So that's about 3 or 4 grams if you're going to weigh it out. I'm not. I'm just going to make sure it goes around the whole of the frying pan. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a dollop of pancake on top of the frying pan here. I hope you can see this all right. And show you how to make your purple mixture into perfect, gorgeous little pancakes that will delight both celiacs and vegans alike. And if you're making pancakes for lots of people, what you can do is have a very, very low heat in your oven and do a big stack of them. And each time you fry a pancake, pop it into the oven, and then they'll all stay nice and warm. Oh, I can see something coming off there. That means it's ready. Okay, so I'm just going to pour a tiny bit of mixture into the pan. A little bit here. Oh, a nice sizzling sound there. Oh, that sounds great. Oh, you've no idea when you do this. They're so different from the kind of pancakes that we might have when you're a normal person who goes out to have pancakes. We think of them as sort of like crêpe stone, and you have sort of lemon and sugar with them, and they're absolutely sensational. And this is more of an American style pancake, quite fluffy, and something that goes down very well if you enjoy having syrup. You could choose something like agave syrup, or you could choose something like honey. And I like to serve with them extra blueberries and strawberries. So you've probably already seen on the side here that I've got some strawberries and blueberries just in time for my gorgeous pancakes. I might turn up the heat just a little bit here while this is going on. They tend to take about 5 minutes either side. But again, it depends on the oven that you're using, the hob that you're using. So I'll go over again some of the gorgeous properties of the products that I'm using today. Obviously, you all know about bananas, that's fine, and the milk that you're using, but Arctic Power you may not have come across before. And They are an absolutely fabulous addition to recipes because they only use dried and ground wild blueberries. And that's wild blueberries, something so you know that they've got the best possible product. I'm going to read you some of the nutrition facts off the back here, which is absolutely sensational. They've got vitamin E, they've got magnesium, they've got potassium, all things that are going to be nutritionally beneficial for you and your family when you're eating these. They give a serving suggestion of adding this to porridge. So if you fancy some purple porridge in the morning, especially as it's coming up to Halloween next week, I mean, how good would that be to have purple porridge for breakfast, especially if you're a kid? And they've also said you could use it in your baking and cooking, obviously, as I am today with these purple pancakes, which I might just turn up the heat for just a little bit more, making sure, obviously, that I don't heat them too much. I do not wish to have burnt pancakes today. And here's another bonus that they've got for them. They said they've used over 700 grams of fresh berries in just this little bag. And I only used 10 grams in the purple mixture you see before you. This purple mixture, by the way, will actually keep the next day. So if you've got a screw top lid to either a glass jar or if you've got a screw top lid to a plastic jar, then you can pop that in the fridge and then the next day just pour out some more pancake mixture for yourself. I'm going to check my pancakes and make sure that they're okay underneath. And if you're wondering why I've used coconut oil, I just find it makes a really nice, it gives a really nice kick to the pancakes. I'm just going to turn them down a little bit because I think possibly my pancakes need a lower heat. But make sure if they're thick pancakes that they're going to cook through all the way and not get burnt on the one side and then still be raw on the other. That would be rubbish, wouldn't it? So yeah, I like using coconut oil, especially for frying pancakes. But you can use an oil of your choosing. Just make sure that it's an oil that whatever flavour you've got doesn't influence the pancakes too much. So for example, if you use like a groundnut oil, then you'd have a very nutty flavour pancake. And if that's not what you're looking for, then you wouldn't want that. So that's why I've gone for a coconut oil. Blueberries, obviously, lovely accompaniment to blueberry pancakes. I also like strawberries to go with them, or anything that really is in season. And if you have a nice big stack of pancakes, it looks fantastic at the breakfast table, particularly if it's a leisurely weekend and the weather is rubbish outside. I'm in Bristol at the moment. Wherever you are, I hope you have better weather than we have here because it's pretty grey and it's certainly very, very wet. Okay, this is looking quite good on the underside, but as I try and lift it with my spatula, it's still a little bit too soft. So I know that my pancake isn't properly cooked yet on that side. So I'm just going to make sure we've got a bit more even cooking going on. I promised I would also let you know a bit more about lovegrass. Now, teff flour is relatively new to the market. I've been used to using gluten-free flours for some time, and teff flour is yet to explode as much as some of the other flours. A regular gluten-free flour, just if you're wondering, tends to contain potato starch, maize, rice flour, sometimes buckwheat flour, and a touch of xanthan gum. That seems to appear everywhere. Prior to the good Dove's Farm flour that I use quite regularly now, by the way, they have not gifted me anything, so I've gone against my word there about saying I wouldn't mention brands that have not gifted me today. Prior to that, in the 90s, the gluten-free flour, if you could get it, was actually grey. I'm not lying, it was grey flour, and if you baked a cake with it, you got a grey result. And by that, I mean not just looking at it, I mean tasting it. It was hideous. So I am really grateful to people like Lovegrass who have brought out a decent gluten-free flour. One of the things about Lovegrass teff flour is that it contains so much goodness to it. If I read off the back for you some of the things that I've already mentioned, the fibre, and if you're wondering how much fibre is in here, in the white one there's 21 grams and in the brown there's 22. If you look at an ordinary gluten-free flour, it's way less than that. Even if you get a brown gluten-free bread flour, it tends to be around 4 or 5 grams of fibre, and so not competing anywhere near the amount of fibre here. This one also has quite a bit of calcium and magnesium. And if you have celiac disease, you will know, or you may not know, but you will know after this video, that you need more calcium than most people. Average normal person needs around 700 to 750 milligrams, and a celiac recommendation is around 1,000. And you can see more information on that on the Celiac UK website. You can also see a bit more information about it in the article I wrote for Gluten Free Heaven magazine on preventing issues like osteoporosis and getting a bit more exercise. And you'll know if you've been to lifeonaricecake.com, i.e. my website, that I am a massive advocate of exercise. So these pancakes now, I reckon it's about time for them to be turned over. They're nearly getting there. Oof, yep, that was very close. My pancake nearly fell in half there, but I just about rescued it. And this one is taking its time today. I might give that one just a little bit extra time, possibly pop the heat up just a little bit. Oh, I wish you could smell these. The smell, the waft of gorgeous pancakes should be coming over to you. They certainly are going to be a real treat to have. And if you looked at my Instagram post yesterday, you will know that I recommended what you should buy in for these pancakes. And I'll go over those ingredients again. You've obviously got the Arctic berry powder. You've got the teff flour, coconut oil for frying. You obviously don't need the blueberries or strawberries in the pancakes, but if you want them to go with the pancakes, then that's great as well. You'll need the zest of that lemon, a squeeze of the lemon, only about 3 millilitres, 150 millilitres of soya milk. Remember, there are no eggs in these pancakes, and the substitute for eggs, if you will, is the banana, and also using the, where did we get to? We have the tofu, of course, the tofu, and there's 250 grams of firm silken tofu. That's the one you can get in the regular, I'm just going to turn this over, excuse my fingers there. There we go, there's a gorgeous golden colour coming to those pancakes now. That is really nice. They're just going to take a few more minutes. I'm just going to get the tissue there because I managed to get the pancake all over my hands. So whilst those are going, I am going to introduce you to the next thing I'm going to be making. And so I'm going to get out of the way some of this stuff here, the blueberries, for example, which I shall be enjoying later, and the coconut oil and the strawberries. And I'm going to be introducing you to 2 new brands that I haven't yet mentioned. The first brand is Nut Blend. This is the most gorgeous, sensational nut butter. You may be thinking to yourself, I'm not sure that I actually want to put it in anything. I just want to eat it straight from the jar. They gifted me 4 different flavours of their gorgeous nut butters, and I can tell you the ones I've tasted are just divine. They haven't got the added ingredients that you sometimes get with nut butters, like sugar or salt. And they have some really interesting ingredients. So, for example, this one is the praline nut butter, and all it has in it, almonds, pecans, and maca powder. That is it. Nothing else. And the other thing that I've got in there is going to be the Enjoy drinking chocolate. This, also when you get drinking chocolate, you think, oh, I just make it into hot chocolate. But actually, this is going to go into this dark chocolate protein ball recipe because it just makes the protein balls taste amazing. You can also call them raw cookie dough because it can be eaten raw, or you can bake them into cookies, and that's what I'm going to be doing today. Keeping an eye on my pancakes, obviously, because I want them to go well. So into my bowl for my protein cookie dough. And by the way, if you're wondering about these recipes, they are available on my website. You just have to click on recipes on the home page. And I have a special treat for you because you can get these recipes free in the next 24 hours. So if you're watching this on catch up, as long as it is not after Sunday, you'll still be able to get these for free, but you will need a code and you'll have to keep listening so that you get the free code. I'll tell you a clue now, it's all in lowercase. That's all I'm going to say for now. So the dark chocolate protein dough, cookie dough, or the protein balls, whichever you want to refer to it, is going to have brown teff flour in it and 2 grams of baking powder. That's going to go in there. Then I am going to add some egg white. And if you're thinking, well, how can I just get an egg white without cracking an egg? I actually really recommend that you buy just egg whites like this. If you can't have eggs, or if you prefer not to have eggs, if you're vegan, for example, you could try a flaxseed egg. I haven't tried it myself, but I'm led to believe that it does make an absolutely amazing raw cookie dough as well. And if you're wondering how much of that is 30 millilitres of egg white. And that makes it so much easier if you have bought just the egg whites to actually just keeping the heat going in here. I'm going to check on my pancakes. It just makes it so much easier. Yep, I reckon my pancakes are coming. Oh, they are so close. So close. Just give them 1 more minute, I think, before turning it off. So back to this. As well as adding the egg whites, you also need to add 1 medium-sized egg. And the one I've chosen here is a golden yolk, but you can choose something that you think is really tasty. I always think the better quality the ingredients, the better your outcome is going to be. And no more so than with gluten-free food or indeed vegan food, I think. So I'm using the nut blend nut butter that I mentioned earlier, the Praline one. You're going to have 120 grams going in there. Pour that all in. This is so divine. If you have anything left over from this jar and you're bored tonight or whenever you buy your nut butter, I really won't blame you for just sitting on the couch, putting on some Netflix and getting a spoon. It is sensational. Really is sensational. I mean, I'm not going to waste any of that. That's all going into my yummy cookie dough. So good. So good. Right, that's gone in. Right, I'm going to put that to one side. Next thing I'm going to use is an agave syrup. And if you're wondering how much agave syrup, it is 30 grams. So that will go in. Look at that. These are all very sticky ingredients. I'm just going to reach over precariously for my knife and turn off my pancakes at the same time because those pancakes are now done. They are, oh, so good. And if you're wondering what they taste like, it's a gorgeous cross between berries, lemon, and really fluffy, yummy comfort food. Really recommend it. So, into this mixture, let's just go over it again. We've got the nut butter, we've got the syrup. I recommend something like Agave. There are lots of different brands of syrup that you could use. 1 egg, 30 millilitres of egg white. We've got the 2 grams of baking powder. Don't forget that, especially if you want to bake your raw cookie dough. 50 grams of brown teff flour. And I've used the Lovegrass one. And then, oh yes, the final one, what am I talking about? Thought I'd put all the ingredients in, but obviously I have not. It is the gorgeous organic drinking chocolate from Enjoy. Enjoy have gifted this to me. And one of the things, oh, so good. It's so good. A big cloud of dust coming up there. One of the things that they are famous for is not using any refined sugars in their drinking chocolate. They use coconut sugar instead. And that's it, cacao powder and coconut sugar. That's all they use. And this is the fun bit because this bit is where you get to mix it all together. So I'm just going to move that out of the way because, you know, how could this go wrong? And this is where you have to be a little bit careful because otherwise everything can fly out. I'm just going to give it a bit of a stab to make sure that that egg yolk is broken. Nothing like mixing something together and realizing the egg yolk is still in one big lump. I'm not making that sound very appetizing, am I? But I promise you it is absolutely gorgeous. So you're just going to mix that together, keep going round, and it will form a dough, but it's not a dough that you can do anything with immediately because it is going to be too sticky. And the way to overcome that stickiness, put this to one side, I do not need that at the moment. The way to overcome that stickiness is to pop it in the fridge for at least 1 hour. Possibly in winter, you don't need to put it in as long as you do in summer. And given the temperature outside, that means you can probably get away with just an hour. Oh, can you see how gorgeous that's coming together? I don't know if you can hear how sticky and yummy that is, but that really is very, very dark chocolate indeed. thanks to that Enjoy chocolate powder that I put in there. And of course, very, very nutty, thanks to the nut blend. The brown teff flour gives it another gorgeous nutty taste, and it makes it full of fibre. So these are super, super good for you. If you're wondering how much mixture I am making here, this makes 12 protein balls, and they can go into the oven as cookies if you want them to, or you can just eat them raw. If you're not keen on eating raw egg, then you can try that flaxseed egg. If you're thinking, what's a flaxseed egg? You basically get flax seeds, and for every tablespoon of flaxseed that you use 3 tablespoons of water, and it congeals together after about 10 minutes. So you just need to make that flax egg ahead of time, and you will have something you can pop into cooking. Right, I have done as much as I dare with that, and I'm going to show you this gorgeous mixture. And I will actually attempt to roll it, but it's probably a little bit too sticky at the moment. I'm going to get it all over my hands. You're basically going to roll it and make it into a lovely, lovely cookie ball. But as I said, that's a little bit too sticky for me. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pop that to one side and show you some balls that I made earlier. It's very good pita style, and you'll see that they're quite firm and glossy. Just going to get the protein cookie dough off my hands there. And I'm going to show you what it looks like when you bake it in the oven. So you just need regular baking tray, and you'll need to pop a couple of these balls onto here. In fact, I'm going to put 3 on here, bake myself 3 cookies. Yum, yum, yum. No prizes for guessing what I will be doing after this video. With the back of a spoon, you can just press down your cookie dough so that it makes quite a fat cookie. And then you're going to pop it in the oven at 180 degrees centigrade, that's 375 Fahrenheit. I've preheated my oven, and you must only pop it in there for about 6 or 7 minutes. If you do it any more than that, you will end up with a really dry cookie, and you want it to have that lovely moist inside. So I'm going to pop over here to my oven, which I've already got on, and set the timer for 7 minutes, which I believe is just going to take us over time, but who cares? I'll just get a tissue and go through all of those ingredients again. We've got that amazing drinking chocolate from Enjoy, the gorgeous praline nut butter, the syrup that I said you can either buy something sweet like agave syrup, or honey if you prefer honey. If you're vegan, obviously you want to go for agave. 1 medium egg, or the flax egg that I mentioned, 30 millilitres of egg white, then you've got the 50 grams of brown teff flour, and 2 grams of baking powder. If you're celiac, you need to make sure that your baking powder is absolutely definitely gluten-free. Many of them are. Just make sure you check on the back of the packet that you bought or the tub, and then you will get 12 protein balls or cookies if you want to bake them out of the mixture that I just made. With the pancakes, you tend to get about 8 or 9, depending on how big you want them to be. I'm just going to plate these up, and you can see how big they actually are. Oops, I'm just going to use this plate here and show you. These ones, oh, they're so good. They look very different from the way that they actually taste. If you popped a few strawberries on there as well with them, suddenly that brings them a little bit to life, and maybe a few blueberries, possibly a little bit of lemon zest if you fancy doing that. Let's see if those blueberries hang out there. Oh, yes, they do. Let's pop that strawberry there to make it look a little bit better. So we've got some strawberries and fresh blueberries on top of those pancakes, and we've got those gorgeous chocolate protein balls. Both recipes are gluten-free and dairy-free. The latter recipe contains egg if you want it to. I can see Tony coming back here. He's probably got some questions. And if you can just wait a few more minutes, you'll see those cookies. If you can't, I baked one earlier. Of course I did. And this is what the cookie looks like. It is absolutely sensational. Those recipes, I promised you, free recipes. Go to my website. On the homepage, you will see recipes. Click on that. And you need to enter the following code. All lowercase. Very simple, free from festival. Yep, free from festival will get you free recipes just for the next 24 hours though. So if you're watching on catch up, Make sure that it is not after the 25th of October because you will not qualify for those free recipes. But subscribe to my website and you will be eligible for more free recipes, and you will get codes on Wednesdays to take you to those. So please don't fret if you miss out on the next 24 hours of code, because there will be more coming soon, as long as you subscribe. www.lifeonaricecake.com. Tony, I can see you there. Do you have some questions for me from people who have been watching?
Well, my first question just would have been, how long does it last? Because I've got to drive from London to Bristol if I'm going to try that. So you'll have eaten them by the time I get there. And
I've got hungry mouths waiting for these, I can tell you.
So you've used some very selective ingredients, which may be a little expensive. Is there a cheaper way to do these things?
Well, what I would say is that when you're trying to make a really good gluten-free product, whatever it might be, whether it's pancakes, protein balls, a cake, whatever, there's quite often one thing that's a little bit more indulgent on your wallet, shall we say, than the rest of the ingredients. But because you're not using that much of it, and because it makes the product you're making taste so good, it's worth investing in that one thing, whatever that might be. And then the other ingredients, I mean, look what I used. I used eggs, I used bananas, I used a tiny pinch of things like baking powder, all very cheap ingredients. So the overall outcome is not that expensive.
Right. And when you're putting your recipes together, how long does it take to come up with what you think is the best version? Or is it always a process that's happening?
I think it's an evolving process. Initially, when I first started my gluten-free cake business, the local bakehouse, it took me years to come up with decent recipes. These days, it doesn't take too long, but I do have to refine things. So the first time I made the protein balls, I tried them out with my husband, and I loved them, but he said they weren't quite sweet enough. So I reduced the amount of egg white that was going in, and I upped the amount of agave syrup, and then that was good enough for him to say, yes, I really like this, because the texture was already good and the flavor of the chocolate came through so well. So sometimes it's a bit of give and take, and sometimes you have to sack off the recipe because it's just disgusting and stop.
What's been your favorite recipe so far to come up with?
I really, really enjoyed making something purple. And I really, really like anything that's full of protein. So the fact that this cookie dough comes out for 2 cookies, you've got well over 8 grams of protein. I like to eat a quart of protein, and it tastes amazing. I really enjoyed doing this particular challenge.
Whilst we're talking, I know we've got lots of fascinated people watching along with me. If anyone does have any questions, feel free to put them in the chat box. I've got the chat box open in front of me, so I will be able to read the questions and I will be able to relay them to Ali. I was just saying, you know, your kitchen, it has a very beautiful kitchen and it's just the right size and shape to be able to put this on a camera, isn't it?
It is. It was specially built. This used to be my garage, and it was a garage that wasn't big enough for a car. So it was a ridiculous thing to try and keep. And what you're looking at in front of me, this unit here actually moves about. So if I need to host 20 people at Christmas, I can, because I can just wheel it out and put in some more tables.
Right, but it's beautiful and light and airy. It looks like a film set.
Well, thank you. That makes me very, very happy indeed.
It looks like, you know, like those ideal kitchen food. You know, you see them in films. You go, oh, nobody would ever be able to afford to live in something as beautiful as that. Surely that's just a film. But no, you're actually in it. You're living the dream.
I'm in the film. Yes, I'm very, very lucky.
And the purple powder, of course, you can use for other things. You mentioned porridge, didn't you? Did you mention porridge?
The Arctic berries that I use, the Arctic Power blueberries, they suggest on the back that you use them in porridge. Oh, that is the pinger. Let me grab my cookie.
Oh, yes. Carry on.
Stay with me. Let's see how they've come out of the oven. Oh, they smell so amazing. I bet that journey that you want to do from London to Bristol, I bet you'd be a bit quicker if you could actually smell these. They are absolutely perfect. I have to say, they're not lookers, but they are smellers, if you get what I'm saying.
Absolutely. Well, I think Zoom need to do something about that and be able to add a smell-o-vision thing. That there must be some add-on you can do that. Yes. So what are your next plans?
Do you mean immediately or in the months to come?
In the months to come. What's coming up for Ali?
Life on a Rice Cake is going big guns. It really is. I have just started it, so I'm building up my audience, but it is going to be the place for people to come if they have celiac disease, if they have IBS, or if they simply want to learn how to live a much healthier lifestyle as a celiac or as someone who has certain foods they need to avoid. One of the things that I think is missing, especially on social media, are people that do gluten-free but don't just do things like cake and biscuits. Now, I own a gluten-free cake business, so I definitely like my cake, but the majority of the time I am a very, very healthy person, and I love eating things like these protein balls, these pancakes, and making sure that I get enough exercise. And so anyone who feels like they just want to be a better version of themselves, come to my website, because there will be a lot of advice and help there for you.
And do you have restaurants and food places that use your recipes to create products as well?
No, I did have someone approach me to create a recipe, but he also wanted to own the recipe after I created it. So I said no to him. But I certainly wouldn't disregard doing a recipe for somebody in the future.
Right. So you got to keep these. I mean, although you're giving the recipes away, you need to hang on to them. I mean, it's like the secret ingredients, wasn't it, of Colonel Sanders? Nobody knows what's in it, right? There's like a couple of people in the world who know the secrets.
Well, there we are. Now I'm letting you in on my secrets. But it's only a couple of secrets, and they are amazing. So they're well worth trying at home. And then I'll have more recipes to come, and maybe I'll just keep them to myself for a bit. Who knows?
And when you were before the COVID really hit down, were you traveling a lot and doing these presentations?
I was doing a fair amount of travel. I was due, obviously, to do the Free From Food Festival in October. I was very excited about that. And then, obviously, we had to go virtual. But in a way, I'm really glad that we've gone virtual, because it means I can reach so many more people. There's no way people in countries all over the world could be at the Free From Food Festival if it were actually just in person this weekend. So although I love meeting people and engaging with people, actually doing things via Zoom has its benefits that meeting in real life can't.
Yeah, I think that's a lot of people in across the world have discovered that their businesses may be deficient in some areas, but there's actually these challenges have produced new opportunities to both demonstrate what they do and reach an audience in ways that they would never have chosen to do before. So
definitely, and for people who just aren't able to leave the house for whatever reason that might be, whether it's because of COVID or whether they have health issues that also mean that they can't have gluten, for them it's fantastic. So I'm glad to be able to reach a wider audience.
Right, and you we're going to do there's a competition, right, to have a session. However, is that something that you were doing before, or is that something that you've started doing and you're going to do more of now?
This is something I'm going to be doing lots more of. So Life on a Rice Cake is a different version of what I've been doing. Prior to this, I own a gluten-free cake business. I'm still doing that. That's the local bakehouse. But something that I've always wanted to do was Life on a Rice Cake. And I started writing it as a book about 20 years ago. And it was to help people who had similar experiences to me with either celiac disease or IBS and how to get through life. And what I'll be doing now is coaching people on how to handle their celiac disease or their gluten-free diagnosis and how to get a healthier, better life, because I have found some secret ways of doing it. And I just think that they should be shared with the world.
Absolutely. Well, you've been doing an amazing job so far. So just one more time, just give us a quick rundown of everything you've done, just in case anyone's joined a little bit later or would like a little reminder.
Yeah, so if you'd like to make the fabulous purple Superberry lemon pancakes, those were made using the Arctic Power blueberry powder and the Lovegrass white teff flour. You can get the full recipe on my website, www.lifeonaricecake.com. Scroll down to recipes and you can get them free in the next 24 hours. And today is Saturday the 24th, if anyone's watching on catch up. And you can get those free with the code FREEFROMFESTIVAL, all in lowercase. If you want to make the dark chocolate protein balls that can also be made into cookies, as I've just shown here by demonstrating baking them for just 7 minutes, then you will need to get yourself the gorgeous nut blend nut butter and the Enjoy drinking chocolate, as well as a host of other ingredients that you can get in the recipe on my website, but you will have to get it in the next 24 hours if you want it for free.
Fantastic job. It's been amazing listening to you, watching you. My mouth is watering, but that's my problem, isn't it? We will be back probably in about 20 minutes now with our next presentation, which is Meet the Makers. This will be session number 4 with the founders of VOSC, Shores of Africa and Nourish. But in the meantime, Ali Walsh, thanks a million. See you soon. Bye.
Bye-bye.